Grab something else. That's what I'm excited for.
Well, let's see. What should we have afterwards? We should have something better afterwards.
Alright.
Let's.
Well, isn't anything better than Mr. Bean?
That's true.
So here's a Budweiser.
No, I don't know.
That's a close one.
That is close.
This is aged Mr. Beer, though.
Yeah, oh, which could go either way here.
No. I think there's only one way this is gonna go.
No, I mean like compared to Budweiser, like.
It's true. Alright, what do we got? Do you want Lucky Bastard? I have that.
I might need that. I don't know if I'm gonna go to work tomorrow after this beer.
That's true. Or we could do the Unibrow one. This is very good.
I'll take your recommendation.
Well, you don't like Arrogant Bastard, right?
I don't remember. I have
like
grown on IPAs lately, so.
Okay. Well, we can open the Lucky Bastard.
Alright.
We'll save the Unibrow for a clean palate.
Okay.
We'll do that one
It's like
sometime.
a decent beer.
And then sometime we'll open, I have a Belching Beaver Peanut Butter Stout, which is good. But we'll wait till my stout glasses are clean
Okay.
for that one. This one will be good.
Peanut butter?
Yeah, it's good.
Solid. Alright.
We'll keep this down here.
I will finish this quickly.
Chug, chug, chug.
Pretty much. Are you in the shot?
Yep, I think we're all here.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Oh, now we got a cool background.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to the Sci-Fi Christian. This is week 3 of Game of Thrones season 5, The High Sparrow. I'm Bendy Bono.
I'm Emily Kirkwald.
I'm Ben Kirkwald.
Now, Emily's here with us, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
It means that no smoking this week.
Right.
Because, as we've said, Emily is expecting,
Yes.
which is very exciting, and unfortunately means a lack of tobacco here this week. But, to make up for it, we have something very, very special in the beer department.
Oh, Lord.
Now, those of you who have watched our reviews for the last couple of years know that we have an annual tradition of pulling out from the cellar. Actually, in this case, it was over by the wall in the corner there. A Mr. Beer. Now, I know some of you have heard the story before, but so I'm very into home brewing and everything, you know. We were just talking about, I have like a winch in my ceiling for all, you know, I've got all this cool equipment. But back in the day, I got my start with a Mr. Beer kit. Mr. Beer is the lowest of the low. It is the worst of the worst. It is the bottom of the proverbial barrel. And I've made a couple batches with it. You know, and that kind of, it was good because it fostered my love of home brewing, but that's the only thing it was good for. And each year, this beer has grown more and more disgusting, and so it's no surprise I've never actually finished all my Mr. Beers.
Right.
These are like 2.5 years old. I still have some.
Right.
This was a Mexican jalapeno cerveza. If that doesn't whet your appetite, I don't know what is. So,
yeah, I wouldn't drink that anyways.
This bottle has been sealed for 2 years, over 2 years, 2.5 years, waiting for this moment to be opened for our pleasure. Now, don't chuck it.
No. Pleasure is the wrong word. But
ooh, you can at least smell it, Emily. I don't.
Yeah. The baby might have grown enough from that.
Yeah. Emily is.
God. Oh my God.
See, I'm gonna pour for you, so make sure you don't. Now there's plenty here.
So short.
There's plenty here. This is a bomber. So.
Yeah, and fortunately or unfortunately, I'm drinking cream soda instead.
That is the same color. So
Okay.
don't get these glasses mixed up.
So yeah, you'll know. Oh, this smells horrible. So, any thoughts on the smell? I mean, the jalapeno comes through, but it smells very sour.
It smells.
It smells like jalapeno that have been jalapeno for a few weeks on the kitchen counter.
It smells like apple juice.
Spicy,
Not the
though.
one I drink.
Oh, bad apple
It
juice.
smells like apple juice.
All right. Predictions on how this has gone from last year.
Down.
The aroma, at least, has gone way down. This smells horrible. I think it smells like cat piss of a cat that's been eating
No,
jalapenos.
I think it smells like apple juice. I don't know.
I don't know.
Let me smell your
Smell it.
glass again. No.
I don't. Yeah, I think
Alright.
you're off base here. Should we go
Ready?
for it?
Here we go.
Oh. 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 Here, let me top you up.
Oh, thank you. So it doesn't hit you at first. At first, it's just like nothing, and then it just all of a sudden there's this jalapeno taste in your mouth.
It's like soured a little bit, I think.
Is that a bad thing?
Here, you could. Sorry, my
I don't want
Ulysses
Ulysses footnotes over here. Yeah, jeez.
notes. See, Mr. Beer plus Ulysses footnotes. What's a combination?
That's
All right, so we had to do an edit there because the Mr. Beer was so horrible that we had to dump it. We actually have new glasses prepared. Well, I am going to put that section at the end, so if you want to watch an extended 5 minutes or so of us bitching about the horribleness of Mr. Beer, you can go to the end. But what we have here instead is Lucky Bastard from Stone, which you might hate this, Ben, but at least it will be better than what you just had.
not true. Isn't that IPA? It's like
Yeah, it's
surly
like the-
type IPA.
No, it's like, let's see what it says here. A dry hop tribute to 17 years of area. I mean, it's one of the variations they have on their Arrogant Bastard.
Okay.
Which
fine.
this is actually my favorite of the ones that they have. So I think you'll like this. But just rhetorically speaking, you might hate this, but it's going to be a million times better
Right.
than what
Even
you,
if I hated it.
even if you hated it.
It doesn't matter.
It has color. A Lucky Bastard from Stone.
It truly is.
Oh, it has a decent aroma. I can't taste jalapenos. I feel like they've sat on the kitchen counter for a month. So you just drop the Ulysses notes again.
No, that's Dante.
So here's the deal.
For all you literary
Not
people
that
out
anybody
there.
really cares about this, but like the space is at a premium here in my office, and so I kind of use the side of the couch as like a book stand.
Right.
So I have all these books over there.
Yeah, I'm
They're
aware of
falling off,
Knocking them down one
which
by
is
one.
fine.
Yeah.
All right,
This is good.
this is much
Much
better.
better. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll take this a million times.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So worse than Budweiser, I think. Final consensus on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Budweiser with flavor, a bad flavor.
Budweiser with jalapenos. That's where we're at there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the High Sparrow. What did you guys think of this episode?
A lot of stuff happened.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of surprising. Well, I mean, everything's surprising to me because I don't know anything that's gonna happen. But it was like, whoa,
Yeah.
and a lot of like setting up.
Yeah. As a book reader, I enjoyed parts of it that they are redoing. I
Yeah,
enjoyed
threw you
some
for
of the
a loop.
redos.
Yeah. I kind of agree because I think that, well, I mean, in particular, we'll talk about the plot points more when we get there, but the whole Sansa Littlefinger thing for the last couple weeks for us book readers, it felt like we had reached the end of book 5 material, and we're now moving beyond the books.
Right.
But then this week, the book kind of looped that storyline back into something else that happens in the books.
She's
She's
Sansa's
replacing a different
another
character.
Yeah.
So that was interesting, but it's not a clean replacement either. I think it's something that takes us in a very different direction.
Not necessarily. Well,
We'll
yeah.
get there.
Okay.
So no Dany this week, no Dorne this week, no Bran. I know, just to be clear here, people said, oh, Bran, they already said Bran's not going to be in this season. Well, my reading of that was they said that Hodor wasn't going to be in this season. I thought I read that Bran was going to show up at some point. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe Bran won't be here at all. I know Hodor for sure is not in this season at all.
What?
Yeah.
Hodor?
I know, it's disappointing.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So, a few characters missing, though from the preview for next week, it looks like we will be seeing all of them.
Yep.
And everything. So, should we start with Arya at the house of the, I don't know, black and white. There you are. So she's busy sweeping the floors and has some interesting moments in terms of her preparedness to enter into everything Jake and Hagar has for her.
Yeah. First note, as a book reader, they clearly spent all of their money on the CGI for these dragons and decided not to make the cathedral that place is supposed to be.
Right.
Which is fine. It sets up better. But I like the way that they set that up.
Yeah.
I'm okay with Jake and Hagar this time.
You've accepted.
I've accepted that over the course of the last week here. I've accepted that he is going to be the character that replaces that role, and that's a good spot for him. Because we feel comfortable with this character already. We don't have to relearn anybody. And I think for show watchers, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
It seemed fine to me that it was
Okay.
him.
Okay.
I mean, because Arya knew who he was and was wanting to meet him again.
Right.
So.
Yeah, the nature of a TV show, at least in the modern era, is that you want to have that what moment at the end of an episode, and so that gave them that last time. The big thing that happened, of course, with Arya is, she's told, oh, if you think you're nobody, you've got Arya Stark's clothes and Arya Stark's sword and everything. So she throws the clothes into the river. She throws the money into the river. She keeps back Needle, which is an interesting moment for us in the audience, because I think that emotionally we know the ties she has to the sword.
Yeah.
And so we're like, yeah, be who you are. But then at the same time, I think it's a pretty safe bet that's going to come back to haunt her. I mean, that's not the last we've seen of that story.
Yeah, it's interesting because you need to become nothing. That's what who are you? You're nobody. If you're nobody, you have no possessions.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that she's secretly keeping this means that she can never be nobody.
Exactly. At least not so long as she has Needle.
Right. And so it's very interesting. I was really worried for a second there that she was for sure going to throw it, because in the book she doesn't too. So that I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to throw it, and that just throws off that storyline completely. So.
Right. What do you think of Arya so far this season? As somebody who hasn't read the books, we haven't heard your thoughts on any of these plot lines so far.
I know. She seems more desperate this season. The last couple of seasons she's been, she's out for revenge for her family. She, says all those lists of names before she goes to bed.
Well, she's still in St. House.
Yeah.
Well...
We had that last week.
Yeah.
Yes. But here, she's at this house and she just seems so desperate for something to happen. And maybe that's just because she's been chasing after something and now she feels like she got to a place that she can finally do something. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's a little bit different attitude, I think, from her.
Yeah, she's kind of reached the destination and is now, why isn't something happening?
Right.
Yeah.
And she wants it to happen faster than it's supposed to.
Well, show Arya should be happy because they're certainly condensing a lot of the stuff that book Arya had to go through.
Yeah.
She's not out having to chase cats or whatever she was.
Not yet.
Yeah. Or, no, that was earlier.
Isn't she already good at chasing cats?
Yeah. But she was sent on other errands around the city or whatever.
Yeah, she had to sell all those shells and stuff.
Exactly. Do you need to go out, dog? Sam the dog needs to go out, so while I let him out, you guys can start talking about... Unless there's more to say on that.
No, there's not.
Let's go to Jon next.
So, we open up with Jon and Stannis together. And I like that he keeps What's his name?
Oliver.
Oliver, yeah. I like that he keeps him in there because he's thinking like somebody who's in charge now. He's like, you need to keep this person in here because somebody needs to know what's going on, and like he might run this one day just like I did, and he's got that leader's mindset now as the Lord of the Night's Watch there. So I really like that part. I think everybody, even book readers, knew that he was going to refuse there. Were you surprised?
No. I didn't really think he was going to abandon the Night's Watch.
Yeah.
No, I think
it's the type of thing that seems like it would be a cool twist till you realize that if they went through with that, it would kind of throw away everything they've done at the Wall so far.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. And I think that at this point it's become his family, knowing that he has no family left. There's nothing to go back to in Winterfell anyways,
Yeah.
Like, these are his ties now, and he has come to accept that after 5 seasons now.
Or at least that's what he wants to believe. Because I think you could read the Janos Slynt execution 2 ways. You could read it as he just became Lord Commander, this guy stood up to him, and he had to show who's boss. Or you could read it as this guy was instrumental in his father's death, which I don't think we've explicitly had him gain that knowledge, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's pieced it together. And there's a bit of revenge involved there then, especially since he carries out the execution exactly in the Ned Stark style. The man who passes the sentence swings the sword. So has he really left behind the Stark name? Because he seemed a lot like a Stark in that moment to me.
Yeah, that the moment in the book, and it felt the exact same way here. All it had to do was just be raining, and it feels like the exact same moment that Robb goes through with the Karstark, with Lord Karstark, right? And it's just like, you have to do what has to be done as a leader.
Yeah.
And that's the moment I felt. I felt that it was more the first. I didn't feel that it was revenge at all.
Well, it depends on how much you think Jon has been able to piece together with Janos Slynt, his role in Ned Stark's betrayal. Because for those of you who need a refresher, Janos Slynt started in Season 1 as the commander of the City Watch in King's Landing. And when Ned was making his power play, Littlefinger had him convinced that Janos Slynt and the City Watch were on his side. And Slynt and Littlefinger betrayed him.
Right.
Which is why Ned died. Slynt doesn't do that.
Right.
He doesn't die. And then it was Tyrion in Season 2 who sent Slynt north of the Wall for exactly that reason. He can't be trusted. So, depending on how much you think Jon has pieced together there, he may or may not have some very personal incentive for what he did.
I didn't get the feeling that the show felt that way about it. I felt like they would have showed us a scene where he had overheard something.
Well, at least in the behind the scenes special they focused more on the fact that it was trying to assert his authority.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. But
yeah.
At least something that crossed my mind anyway, as I was watching that. Alistair Thorne, however, gets made First Ranger, so we're making friends and influencing people. That's good. And Stannis is going to march on Winterfell, where Roose Bolton is hiding out. Mm-hmm. And his son Ramsay is living up to the family sigil by flaying men for real.
Yeah.
Right. Don't pay your taxes, get flayed.
We talked a week or two ago about, would you rather be burned alive or drowned? I don't know, but I'd take both of those over being flayed.
Yeah. Flayed alive? Yes.
Flayed alive? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can flay me after I'm dead.
Right.
That's a whole different story. But yeah, being flayed alive, that would be down there in terms of ways to die.
Yeah.
No.
Ouch.
Lots of this show is like 1,000 ways to die.
It is. Yeah. So whatever your least favorite way to die is, you'll probably find another one next week.
Great. Can't wait.
Exactly. So we have that going on. Roose Bolton, however, is worried about, is he going to be able to hold the North? As he says to Ramsay, my alliance was with Tywin Lannister, not with whoever the current Lannisters in charge are, and that's very much up in the air from his point of view. And so Ramsay is going to get married, everyone! Wedding bells are...
Yay! Oh, so excited.
Man, I wish I could marry someone like that. Said no.
Oh my. Marital tension here.
Yeah, reflecting on this episode with those two storylines converging, knowing that they have to go somewhere and that both storylines are going to go way off from main characters.
Yeah.
Both storylines do in the books. They go way off from these main characters. And so the fact that they're bringing these two storylines together to me does not signify the end of the world for book readers, I guess.
Yeah, so the storylines being...
I feel like the storylines could still end the same, kind of.
With Sansa and...
with Sansa
and the Boltons.
And the Boltons. I feel like...
See, I agree
There
with
could
you
be
on
a
the
little
Boltons,
change.
not on Sansa. I think this is major diversion. Divergence, not a
Right.
diversion.
No.
Yeah, so for those who aren't book readers and aren't clear on what we're talking about, in the books, Ramsay Snow gets married to a fake Arya Stark. It's actually Sansa's old friend Jane Poole, who is in disguise. Sorry, but we've come this far. He's going to get married to someone. So they essentially put Sansa into that role here,
Right.
which she doesn't occupy in the books. So.
But
I think you're right. It's not a big difference for the Boltons, but it is a big difference for Sansa.
yeah. And I don't know. I feel like they know that.
Yeah.
And they've just, I don't know if they've hedged their bet at all there, but I mean, you gotta go one way or the other, right?
I don't think they've hedged their bets. I think they've said, we're going to tell the story our way.
Right.
At this point.
We're gonna get to the end.
The major plot points are going to end the same. But Sansa might not be a major plot point. Whatever George R. R. Martin has told them, and we know he's told them something. What's debatable is how much they know. They know how the big stuff ends. But what about the little stuff? I mean, Martin is famous for not... he's used the analogy that there's two types of writers, an architect and a gardener. Like, an architect is somebody who has it all planned out ahead of time, and a gardener is somebody plans out the kind of the big picture and then lets the rest grow as it will. And he says that's the type of writer he is.
Right.
So they know what the overall plan is. They know what the biggest things are. They know, the huge mysteries he's been working on since book one.
Right.
They might not know everything about somebody like Sansa, though.
Yeah.
Or they might know how her character ends up personality-wise, but not necessarily.
Right.
all
And
the
this
plot
could just
points.
be a means to an end.
Exactly.
But we don't need to speculate this much on Sansa so
Yeah,
early.
that's true. And then along the way, we kind of have a divergence here with, see, I got it right that time, with Brienne and Pod.
I
at Moat Kingdom.
am ecstatic about this new storyline that they've given them.
Yeah.
This is one of the ones where I'm glad they've diverged away from the book, because I felt that the book Brienne and Pod it got really old really fast. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like 2 books of we crossed another hedge, like
Yeah, it's bad.
just we're done. So the fact that this, and we now saw an endpoint tonight with Brienne about Stannis,
Yeah.
and the fact that may or may not reach a head is very interesting looking.
Yeah, because they're heading towards Winterfell, and Stannis said he's heading
It's
towards
true.
Winterfell, so...
That is true. Winterfell could be a major player once again in the Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, that's another interesting point comparing show to books, of course, because without giving anything away about what happens to book Brienne, she's not on the collision course with Stannis when we last see her.
She's a very lost character in the books.
She is. Now, could it eventually lead to the point where there's some confrontation between her and Stannis? Absolutely. I mean, there's all the time in the world for that to happen in the books. But could this also be something where, as somebody who's almost certainly not to be one of those really huge moments that Martin laid out for the showrunners, could this be something of their own making? Absolutely. So I think for book fans, you know, we kind of have to. It's kind of nice because I don't want the show to spoil everything in the books.
Right.
You know, I know we're going to get some of the big points like we talked about, but as a book reader, I'm kind of okay with the fact that we're going to get two different versions of the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
All things being equal, of course, Martin would have finished the books and they'd be delivering a nice little adaptation. But all things are not equal, you know. So we make do with what we've got.
Well, speaking of Stannis too, when we were talking about Jon, I just wanted to say that I like the interaction between Jon and Stannis, and that even though Jon refused him, you could tell when Jon went through with the execution that, you know, Stannis was there watching, and he still respects him. And there's no
animosity between them.
Yeah. I think there's animosity between Stannis and everyone.
Well, yeah.
But Stannis is like, you know, it's like on the political ads, Stannis Baratheon approves this message. That's what it felt. Way to go, son.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny.
Yeah, Stannis is very pro-capital punishment, I think it would be safe to say. Okay, so what we have left here then is we have all of the stuff in King's Landing, which there's quite a bit of it, and then we have Tyrion. What do you guys want first?
Let's do Tyrion.
Okay, so Tyrion is in Volantis. He gets there with Varys. He is sick of being in the wheelhouse. They go to the brothel. And this is very interesting because what I really liked about, before we get to the plot points to have with him, is that they did a really good job of conveying about how Daenerys' influence has reached beyond just Meereen or the places that she's been. She hasn't been to Volantis. But yet you have the priestess there talking about her, you know, and the red priestess talking about her as like the savior and everything. And then you have kind of at the high religion level, she's influenced that. But then also at the lower class level, we see the whore in the brothel dressed up as her. So they did a really good job of showing not only how Daenerys' influence is spread, but how it's spread to all levels of society.
Right.
Yeah. So that was very well done in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we get to the big... I mean, don't think there's anything really in between.
No.
If it's just working up to...
Well, the one thing I would want to ask in between is, so Tyrion obviously knows that he's in danger. I mean, Varys didn't even want him to get out of the wheelhouse because it's a crowded city and everything.
Right.
He's not exactly being shy about his identity. I mean, he didn't come, when he's talking to the one whore, he doesn't come out and say, oh, I'm Tyrion Lannister, but hey, I was the richest person in the world. I'm very good, or I'm known for paying my debts. You know, he puts all... Does Tyrion have a suicide wish still at this point?
Yeah. And in the books, I think he does too.
Yeah, I agree.
I think... Do you feel that same way?
Yeah, he seemed like... He's just like, whatever, I don't really care about my life anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which is interesting because when you look at other books and other movies, the person who gets miraculously freed from prison at the last second all of a sudden either goes on this huge revenge mission or becomes a completely changed person. We don't see that with Tyrion. We see him dive even deeper into the darkness.
This is not the Shawshank Redemption.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Tim Robbins in the rain.
Yeah. Right. Washing away all the sins.
Exactly. Yeah. And then of course he gets captured by Jorah Mormont, which you and I knew that was coming, of course.
Right.
Did that shock you?
Yeah, it did. I did not see that coming.
I knew from the moment that they did the previously on.
Yeah.
I knew that was coming. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so he's bringing it to the queen. We don't know which queen yet.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I get.
That's true.
We don't know which queen yet.
Yeah.
To the queen. So I think that's something that we'll probably find out next week.
Yeah, depending on what direction they're going.
Yeah.
If you hear that banging sound, that's just the dog trying to kill his bed. So he's very excited.
Oh, I need him.
Yeah. So then in King's Landing, I really liked everything in King's Landing this week. I thought the stuff with Cersei and Marjorie was great. You're shaking your head.
I'm not thrilled with the way that they're taking Cersei compared to the books.
It's different, but I like it.
Do you? So why do you like it?
The strength of Game of Thrones in both the books and the series is their ability to take unsympathetic characters, evil characters, and make you look at them from a completely different angle. And, the classic case of this is Jaime Lannister.
Right.
The first time we see him, he's pushing Bran Stark out a window. And he becomes somebody who we relate to, who we see as very flawed still, but as somebody we're cheering for, who we want to see reach that redemption. And Cersei is very much, an evil character too. She's in that same room when he pushes Bran out the window. She's incestuous. We have all the reasons in the world to hate her, but in that moment where she goes to talk to Marjorie, and she leaves, and she can tell everyone's just making fun of her. It's so tragic. And I think it's one of those moments where it's a great reversal of how we in the audience view the character.
Or at least, I don't know that I'm like, oh, now I feel bad for Cersei, but it was a good change of perspective in that she seems weaker, to know that she does have a weakness.
Yeah, but I guess what I don't like about that is, I like that she has a weakness, and I get that, but in the books, when Cersei is confronted with her weakness, she gets more aggressive.
Yeah.
And in the show here, she is much more timid. She's becoming more of a I don't know.
Well, we'll see. I mean, she's obviously up to something with the High Sparrow. She doesn't care at all about the fact that the High Septon... Yeah, she doesn't care about religion. So she has some kind of plot going on there.
Right. I guess this could just be... she could be playing the long game here, and I guess a lot of the book is in her head, and we don't know what she's thinking. And so it could very well be that we're running along the same lines. It's just outward expression is a lot harder with Cersei.
That's true. I guess what I like to say, if you were to enter this season and even this episode and you said, okay, you're going to see Cersei versus Marjorie. Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? 99% of Game of Thrones viewers would have said Marjorie's the good guy, Cersei's the bad guy. And they completely reverse that in this episode, and they do it effectively.
Right.
It was really well written and acted.
Yeah, and I guess that's nice because all along, even though Marjorie doesn't... Does she even have a chapter?
No, Marjorie's not a point of view character.
Right, and so...
we never know what's going on.
We never know what's going on inside her head, but clearly this is what's going on inside her head. We just never get to see it from her perspective, which I think is interesting.
And I don't think we can say that Cersei is a wholly sympathetic character at this point, even. I mean, she doesn't like the fact that she's losing power.
Right.
That's a big deal to her. But there's also a side of her where it's not about the power, it's about the fact that she's losing her son.
Right.
And that came through really well, too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that was set up in the prequel to the season here. That was the opening.
Speaking of book and show differences, though, oh boy, aging up Tommen a few years.
Yeah, Tommen is 9 in the books.
Yeah, so he and Marjorie never do any of that action.
No, in fact, in the books it is forbidden for them to do it.
Yeah.
So it'll be
they sleep in...
if she becomes the queen grandmother?
Well, yeah, so they sleep in separate rooms, and when he comes of age, whatever age that is.
Yeah.
13, I think. Oh, jeez.
Whatever you can get it up.
At that point, they are allowed to consummate their marriage, but not until then. And I know that Marjorie's family was all about, no, they can sleep in the same bed and everything.
Yeah.
And Cersei was very against that. And that's kind of a difference, too, here, is we don't see that pushback from Cersei. She doesn't appear to be as... stubborn, I guess is the word. She's not as stubborn as she is in the books.
Well, in that case, though, with an aged up Tommen, she doesn't have a leg to stand on, really, if you think about it.
Right. I guess, yeah.
Now, that's one of those issues, though, where the divergence between book and show could have major repercussions.
That's, yes.
Because Tommen and
Huge.
Marjorie haven't consummated their marriage.
And that's
Which is huge.
huge.
That's huge.
The basis for probably episodes 5 through 10.
Exactly. So the fact that they have in the show, it instantly makes their marriage much more valid than it would be in the books.
Yes.
Yeah. Their marriage and you kind of got a piece of this with, when Littlefinger and Roose Bolton were talking about Sansa's marriage to Tyrion, and he's saying, "No, it was never consummated, so it's not a big deal," and that's directly from the books. I mean, that's kind of the atmosphere with these the political marriages, is that you're married, but if it's one of these marriages where it's completely political and it's an old guy marrying a young girl or vice versa, and there's no consummation yet, it's not really official until there is.
Right.
And so that's where we are with Tommen and Marjorie in the books, and not so in the show.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the stuff with the High Septon and the High Sparrow. That was great.
Yeah, the High Septon was set up in the books, and I think here too. Tyrion elected him, had enough influence to get him into power because he was a patsy who would do whatever the kingdom wanted. And that's kind of come to a head here, and clearly he can't stand after this political mess that he's got himself in, and so he's now in a dungeon.
Yes.
And which is different.
Yeah.
From the show, but
I
whatever.
think he just dies in the book.
Yeah, he gets murdered or something. Yeah. And now we're meeting the High Sparrow right now.
Mm-hmm.
Cersei appears to be testing him out. I think it's clear from the show that she's contemplating what to do with him. Is he friend? Is he foe?
Can I use him?
Can I use him is really what we're getting
That's
at.
probably the bigger issue than friend or foe.
Well,
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that what's interesting in both the book and it seems like they're setting it up with the show is that the sparrows, and especially the High Sparrow, are really anomalous in this world because they're sincere. Like, they actually believe what they're saying. And you have, since Ned took it, in season 1, we haven't had a whole lot of that. So that's a fun storyline, and it'll be fun to see how they have that go. And then, finally, of course, we mentioned last week that there is an Easter egg waiting for you in Qyburn's study.
Yeah.
Let's just say the Easter egg jumped. Just this week.
Wait, what? There was also an Easter egg at Winterfell.
Oh, yeah?
Did you catch it?
No.
After we saw Sansa, they panned off to the side.
Oh, you'll have to tell me after.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, okay. So for those of you who are book readers, if you have not figured out what's under the blanket now, I think it's time for a reread. You should have been able to figure it out. Yeah. Exactly. For the rest of you, I think you can make a guess.
No,
we're not going to say.
I don't know. I don't think I can make a guess.
Let's just say all we're going to say is that you should be able to figure out what's under the blanket. It's like a bad game show.
Yeah.
Well,
what's under the
person,
blanket?
But I don't know who said person is.
You can make your guess after the show is over.
Exactly. All right. Any final thoughts on the High Sparrow?
I like him as a
the
character.
Yeah.
I'm so excited if they take him the way that he's supposed to.
Yeah.
Elated is the word I'll use with his character.
Yeah.
Because you know what? His demeanor right now reminds me of who was the Stark's maester.
Oh yeah.
He reminds me of him a lot.
Yep.
I loved his character, so.
Yeah. Final thoughts on the episode?
excited for the new storylines that they're giving some new characters.
Season 5 is really taking off.
Yep, and so I think we're
There goes
gonna.
a bug. Holy shit, that thing's huge. Fucking dick. It's a wasp. God damn
Wow,
it.
I thought that was like a moth.
Fuck. Sorry, everyone. Holy shit, there's a wasp in my office. Die, you son of a bitch.
Oh my gosh. Just like games. I really thought it was like a moth.
I gotta go get a Kleenex to throw it away. That was not a moth. Don't let it move.
It's okay.
Wow. That was wow.
Ah, I fucking hate bees. Wasps.
Careful, don't squish it too hard, you'll poke yourself.
Ah.
God.
That was dramatic.
Alright, so let's do a 5-second pause quick again. That'll go at the end.
We can
Alright.
just leave that in. That's
Alright,
good.
that's it. Alright.
Alright, everyone.
Well, yeah,
What was
that's
that little bit of drama?
Oh, jeez.
I'm Benty Moto.
I'm Emily
And I'm
Kirkville.
Sorry for the bad language. Goodbye. That is foul.
It doesn't have much taste.
Oh, but the taste that's
The
there.
jalapeno hits you, though. I mean,
Yeah. Alright, you're in it to win it. You have to chug, chug, chug.
we gotta get to our good stuff, right?
That's right.
We can edit this part out if we need to.
Just don't throw up on you when you're done.
I don't think I can do any more. I'm dumping it.
God.
Oh,
Yes, please.
oh, shit.
Oh,
Oh,
That was
man.
awful.
some good beer, please.
That's all I'm
Too
asking
bad
for.
I couldn't have any. Thanks,
Last
buddy.
chance for a sip.
My cream soda was nice and sweet. Has a little vanilla flavor to it.
You know what? New cups.
Even new cups.
New cups.
Yeah, we'd edited this up.
Oh, yeah, we'll put this at the end. We'll keep in the initial bit.
Alright, alright.
Oh, that was worse than it's ever been.
I don't want to do it next year.
I think I still got some.
We can open it as it will just be the.
No, we gotta at least take a sip next year.
If I miss work tomorrow because of that, I don't know if I want to.
Alright.
It didn't
Just
taste,
have a couple
no.
good ones and then you'll forget about it.
Oh, so we'll cut.
It didn't taste. It tasted bad. It didn't taste like it was contaminated.
No, didn't taste infected.
No.
It just tasted rancid.
No, rancid and contaminated are like the same thing.
Contaminated doesn't necessarily taste bad all the time. Like, it just has like an off flavor, but it's kind of like, oh, you know, it's a little different.
Right.
You can tell. Rancid is like, this is worse than Budweiser, because Budweiser is a flavorless version of this.
Yeah.
This is Budweiser plus a horrible, horrible flavor.
Jalapeno flavor.
Yeah,
It's still burning in my mouth.
Jalapeno is very strong.
It's the jalapeno is the strongest that it's ever been.
Yes. So just
Most
wait
of the
till
time,
next
remember
year.
our first year? You go back to the first year review. It's like jalapenos. There's jalapenos in this. I'll just drink the rest,
Yeah.
whatever. But now it's like,
I'm glad I took some heartburn medicine earlier today.
yeah,
Jeez.
jeez, crazy.
All right, so we'll put that at the end for everyone who enjoyed watching us suffer.
Oh,
All right,
all right.
we'll have a couple seconds of silence and then we'll cut this.
A little prayer here.